Hi ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be going over ratios quiz number 1 for class 603 and class 633. So here's our first question. Write 3 different ratios for the following picture. Well, I see that there are 3 squares, so that could be our first number, and I can compare that to the number of triangles, which is 4. So one ratio could be 3 to 4. Or I could flip it around. I can say I have 4 triangles to 3 squares. Both of those are part-to-part ratios because we're comparing part of the picture to another part of the picture. Now let's take a look at part-to-whole ratios where we're comparing part to the whole. So one part could be 3 squares to 7 total symbols there. Or we can compare 7 total symbols to the 3 squares. And the last comparison would be 4 triangles to total symbols, or 7 total symbols to 4 triangles. So those are 6 options. You could have picked any 3 to write. Number 2, write 3 different forms of a ratio for the following description. For every 2 girls, there are 4 boys. So we're going to keep that order. 2 girls for every 4 boys. We can use the colon to separate the 2 numbers. We can use the word 2 to separate the 2 numbers, 2 to 4. Or we can write it as a fraction where the first number 2 comes on top in the numerator and the second number 4 goes in the denominator. So those are the 3 forms of ratios. Number 3, write a description for the following ratio. Well, when we're talking about ratios, we use the language for every. So for every 1 year, there are 12 months. You could have picked any topic. For every 1 chocolate bar, I eat 12 cookies. For every 1 pair of shoes, I have 12 socks. Any 2 different items that you are describing could be written in a ratio, as long as there's 1 of one item and 12 of the other. Number 4, explain whether the ratios are equivalent. I'm going to write them one on top of the other in the same order that they are in the question, so 4 to 5 and then 28 to 40 underneath. And I want to look at what am I multiplying the 4 by to get to 28? I'm multiplying by 7. On this side, I'm multiplying the 5 by 8 to get to 40. So if I highlight my 2 numbers, I can see that they are different. Those are called the factors that we're multiplying by. So that means this is not equivalent. No, they are not equivalent. Because no, they are not equivalent because I multiplied the 4 and 5 by different factors. And we are going to put the 7 and the 8 in parentheses. 7 and 8 to make 28 to 40. All right, number 5. Complete the ratio table for the example. For every 4 purple pens, Miss Uvera has 7 green pens. So I'm going to write the 4 under purple, 7 for green, and from here under purple we're going to increase by 4. So 4, 8, 12, 16. And for the green pens, we're going to increase by 7s, or list the multiples of 7. So 7, 14, 21, and 28. Number 6. Miss Uvera is making brownies to bring to school to share with her students on her birthday. The recipe requires 2 eggs for every 5 cups of sugar. To have enough brownies for all her students, Miss Uvera determined she would need 20 eggs. How much sugar will she need? So we can either set up a ratio table or an equivalent fraction. If I'm making a ratio table, I'm going to make 1 column for eggs, one column for sugar. It should be an S. So I have 2 eggs for every 5 cups of sugar, and I determined I need 20 eggs. So I'm going to keep going here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, until I get to 20. Now I need to match up my multiples of 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So that means if I have 20 eggs, I need 50 cups of sugar. If I set it up as a ratio, here's my 2 to 5 eggs to sugar. I need 20 eggs. So that means I'm multiplying the 2 by 10 to get to 20, and I need to do the same for the sugar. 5 times 10 gives me 50. So my answer is 50 cups of sugar. Number 7. Miss Pancheri likes to jog and play tennis. For every 3 minutes she jogs, she plays 4 minutes of tennis. Draw a tape diagram to represent the ratio. Well, first I need to label the tape diagram we're going to be drawing. So jogging, we're comparing to tennis. And since the question says 3 minutes, I'm going to draw 3 boxes here for the jogging. And she plays 4 minutes of tennis. So just underneath that, I'm going to draw a box of 4 that line up pretty close to the 3 boxes of jogging. And there's our tape diagram. Number 8. From the information from 7, meaning we're using the same ratio. 3 for jogging and 4 for tennis. Miss Pancheri plays 48 minutes of tennis. How much time did she spend running? So here's our tennis needs to represent the 48 minutes. And we have 4 boxes that we circled. So to figure out how much goes in each box, we're going to do 48 divided by 4. And that gives us 12. So I'm going to put 12 in each box. 12, 12, 12, and 12 up here for each of the boxes for jogging. To figure out how much time she spends jogging or running, we're going to do our 3 boxes times 12. That gives us 36 minutes of jogging. Number 9. From the information, if the ratio stays the same, so still with our 3 boxes for jogging and 4 boxes for tennis, Miss Pancheri plays 8, oops, I changed the page there, 8 more minutes of tennis. I'm going to underline here, 8 more minutes of tennis. So I'm going to take a look at our diagram here, and I can see that these 3 boxes here are equal. I'm just going to erase it because I want to get rid of those lines. That means I have 1 more box of tennis than I do of jogging. So here we have 1 box that's extra or more, and it represents 8 more minutes of tennis. So that means 8 has to go inside. 8, and I'm going to fill 8 in for the other boxes as well, since they're all the same unit. To figure out how much time she spent running, we're going to take our 3 boxes and multiply it by the 8 that's inside each box, and that gives us 24 minutes of jogging or running. And finally, the last question, still from the same information in question 7, that means we're taking our tape diagram, and we have 3 boxes for jogging, 4 boxes for tennis. And it says Miss Pancheri exercises for a total of 35 minutes. That's running and tennis. So total means I want to circle all of these boxes. This is 35 minutes total. And how many boxes do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 boxes total. To figure out how much is going to go into each box, we're going to do 35 divided by 7, which is 5. So let's write a 5 inside each box. And to figure out how much is going to be for jogging, we're going to do the 3 boxes times 5, which gives us 15 minutes of jogging. And for tennis, we have 4 boxes times 5, which gives us 20 minutes of tennis. And when we add those together as a check, 15 plus 20, that gives us 35 minutes total. All right, that's the end of the quiz. If you still have questions, please see me in class. Have a good day.